Test, 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 test. Good evening, everyone.
Right.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Happy Friday, everyone.
Good evening. Let us know where you're watching from. Let us know where you're watching from. Good evening, all. Hello, Mrs. Terry. Mrs. Terry, do you hear me? I just want to make sure my volume working. Good evening. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. What I was talking about, the Cousins Chronicle, could be staycation.
Okay.
You know, it's real. Come on in, y'all. Let me know where you're streaming from. Sean Mackey, we miss y'all, church. I do too. I got a whole bunch of stuff I want to talk about when I get back.
We have a whole lot of stories.
By the way, we have been away, but we are actually.
Hey, Tanisha, how you doing?
We're actually local right now, but we have been away. I heard a phone vibrating.
It wasn't mine. I turned mine on.
Okay. All
Silent.
good.
Where's yours?
I don't even know. We're gonna rock.
Okay.
I see it. Actually, it don't even matter. Good evening, Mrs. Terry. Good evening.
Good evening,
Bookie.
everyone.
All right, we're gonna jump in this evening. My name is JOMO.
I'm Charmaine.
We've been together now 20-something plus years, married 20 plus something years. I'm not gonna get into details, but a long time. And what we do on Friday nights, we come together with real, raw, and relevant conversation in reference to relationships and how we can navigate, matriculate, and get through them and still like each other. You're supposed to love each other, but still like each other in the process. Relationships
Love is like supposed to be just a part. It's just, it's unspoken.
Correct. Relationships are challenging.
Right.
So we had mentorship, and so we believe it is only right that if we have some keys or tools that can help other people, we might as well share them.
Right.
So Cousins Chronicles.
Cousins Chronicles is something we do every week where we talk about our everyday life, real, raw, and relevant. So I have a Cousins Chronicle this week. I started personal training, and how many of you all know when you start something new, it's gonna hurt a little bit. So
let me do something.
It's gonna hurt a little bit.
Yeah, that's Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle and Martin Lawrence in that movie. Yeah.
Yes. So I started the personal training. I felt good when I left the gym. I felt like I was accomplished, like I had really done something. And then I woke up the next morning, y'all, everything hurt. Like it was hard to sit down to use the restroom. It was hard to walk. I just couldn't move good. Like everything hurt. Everything, getting in and out of my car. So I don't know. I felt like even though JOMO does understand my pain because he's been an athlete all his life, I've only been an athlete, for a short period of time.
We have now agreed. Be careful with that, Mom.
Okay.
We've now agreed that she's officially an athlete.
Right.
I have been telling her for many years that she's not an athlete. But
I'm speaking it.
I have now changed my words and said she's an athlete. So we were conversing in the kitchen, and she was telling me how sore she was. And I said, "Listen, I appreciate your soreness, but you still have to stretch and do what you got to do." She's like, "No, this is a different kind of sore." I said, "So you're telling me
it's a different kind of pain?" It wasn't even sore; it was pain.
My point is, in an NFL training camp, we're not just working out; we're hitting each other. Okay.
Right.
Twice a day. So I think I understand pain.
I think you do too.
And she,
I just think when you're an athlete, it's a different kind of pain.
The different tolerance.
You're a non-athlete and you do something that you think
you
can
do.
What?
Miss Terry said stretch and hydrate. That sounds very familiar.
And I was not hydrated. Actually, I felt like I was going to faint during the training session.
Yeah, I told her stretch.
And I had not drank any water. So I think all of that contributed to the fact that it took so long for me to recover and still recovering, literally. So anyway, that evening or maybe in the evening, JOMO was giving me that look.
Like you got to get back in it. You can't do the workout and then be sore 5 days. No, we got to, you got to get, if you want to start something new.
So he laid in the bed giving me the eye.
Well, she made a decision that she's gonna wake up. We're gonna wake up at 4 something in the morning and go to the gym. So I said, I'm gonna ride with you. Come and ride it.
What does that have to do with what I told you?
I don't know. Go ahead.
So that was a couple of days. That was maybe 3 days after this comment. So he was laying in the bed giving me the eye.
What's the eye mean? What's the eye?
Eye means you want some.
Okay, cool. That's a good eye. That's.
And I told him that as a family, we are all making a sacrifice here. I'm sore. You need to feel some type of sacrifice too. So we need to snuggle. This is a snuggle night. This is a rub my thighs. This is a
I want to rub your thighs.
No, just like massage. I need a massage.
So this chick gonna tell me
we all need to make a sacrifice.
We all need to make a sacrifice. So that means I'm not gonna have any visits because I said, listen, I'm not willing to make that sacrifice.
We're gonna make this sacrifice.
Listen, I said I'm not willing to make this sacrifice because that's not fair.
Gonna get right.
Well, if Mama the problem is Mama.
What?
In the process of getting right, you just can't be withholding.
No, you're not withholding. You're making a sacrifice.
It's not. That's an unrealistic sacrifice. And the challenge is some of y'all sacrifice too long. It was only a
one-night sacrifice.
No,
it was a one-night sacrifice.
At that moment, but you can't tell a person that they're about to sacrifice before they're about to sacrifice. You gotta give a person a whole bunch of warning that it's about to be a sacrifice.
You had a warning. I wasn't walking straight all day. That was a warning.
I was trying to straighten you out.
You didn't try to straighten nothing out.
I did try to straighten you.
You was like,
no,
that's just a part of the process, babe. Tough it up.
We're gonna
tough it up. We're gonna make a sacrifice.
Now wait a second. Did I not take you to the hot tub and stretch you?
That was the day after.
No, it wasn't. It was the day before. It was that very night. I remember. Went in the hot tub and I stretched you out, got your legs right, told you how to stretch, all stretching.
Legs right.
Listen, I had a plan. It didn't work.
I don't remember what day, but I just know that it was all pain. All this week was painful.
Lord. So, whatever. By the way, I had a couple good questions.
What?
One question said, basically the question was, how do I get my man to touch me? That's one question. And another question, do you think sex is an important part of a relationship? So,
absolutely.
First question, how do I get a man to touch me? I'm not. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just thinking about what I just said. I said absolutely, but I was thinking intimacy is very important in a relationship. To me, intimacy is more of the affection, touching, loving part. Sex is actually intercourse. So I'm assuming you actually mean the intercourse part when you say sex. So I would say it is important, but it's not. Some people can't have sex for whatever reason, and they're still able to be intimate in their relationship. And I think both are very important. How
do you get a man to touch you? That was the first question.
Yeah. Is that your husband?
I assume so. One of the key aspects I realize is when I don't know if it's a good analogy. Okay, let me start there. I don't know if this is a good analogy, but where do they put the candy in the grocery store? Where do they put the candy in the grocery store?
Where the kids can reach it.
Where you can reach it. So you want to position yourself to be the candy is a place that's very appealing.
Right.
And it's easy to get to. So that's a key aspect in reference to appealing. That there may be clothes, it may be different outfits, all those can. Now, obviously, if the outfit,
because men are very visual.
Men are visual. That's what I'm trying to. All that I said was to get to the point. Men are visual. Now, if the man is not responding to your picture, now there's a deeper discussion.
Right. I was going to say it might be time to, like, if you've done those things and you haven't seen any results, it may be time to have a conversation.
Yeah.
And say, hey, this is what I need.
Yeah.
And then not only say what you need, but come up with a game plan on how to accomplish those things. When are good times? What types of touches do you like? Because the type of touches you like may not be what he has in mind.
And you may ask the question, what do you like?
Oh, that's good.
What do you want? What turns you on?
That's
What
good.
makes you excited? Because if what I'm doing is not exciting him or her, I need to change my game.
That's good.
So that's the real question. Does that feel good? Does that not feel good? Do I do that again? Do you never want me to do that ever again? My point is, until you have real truth and honesty, it's really hard to duplicate what you don't know.
Right.
And there's so much that we don't know that we often do things thinking we're doing well,
right,
but it's not really being received.
That's good. That's good.
All right.
Tonight, we wanted to go over some Q&A, some questions that we received. They are a slew of different types of questions.
All over the lot.
Yeah, which is awesome because I think this is going to be something for everybody in here.
Mm-hmm.
The first question is, my husband and I have had the same fight over and over again. When we were engaged, his dad agreed to buy us a house and pay for the remodeling. We didn't do it through a bank or anything because everything was paid for up front. While remodeling, they did it with their taste. My mother-in-law picked everything she liked. I told my husband here and there things that I liked/wanted so he could tell her, but he never did. I feel like he never gave me a place, and now the house doesn't feel like mine. Whenever I bring it up, he gets sad and says I need to get over it. I just think he just never understood where I was coming from. Do you think it's my fault? Maybe I should have spoke up more. I just didn't feel comfortable because they were paying for everything. So I didn't feel like I had a voice. I love my in-laws and I love my husband very much. What do you think?
Number one, take the L.
It's a paid off house.
It's a paid off house. What I would do if I were you, the market is really good right now. If it's paid off, you could sell it, take the proceeds, get what you want. Now, you may put yourself in a bad financial situation. My wife, when I met her, she had a Cutlass Sierra. Then her parents bought her this Ultima. It was a banging car. Had an Alpine stereo. She was rims. It was clean. I was dating her then. And I said, man, that's a bad car. Anyway, I would sometimes pick her up in her car because I didn't have a car. But you know how.
Shared.
Hey, listen, it be like that sometimes. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Some of my brothers and sisters ain't got no vehicle. I ain't have no vehicle. All I had was a smile. And anyway, so I would be rolling her car. And once we got married, I made the foolish move to trade in her paid off car, and we leased an Escalade.
Right.
And we kicked ourselves because all we had to do was fix something. But
time to change all the belts.
So, it was a minor fix, but we made a catastrophic mistake.
Right.
Versus just taking the gift. So my point to you is, if you have, listen, guess what? Let me have something.
I would never get rid of a paid off house.
Again.
I would use it as rental property later on. I would ride it out and save up so much money because you don't have a mortgage right
Correct.
now. And the thing is it sounds like you guys didn't have an option, another option, because if you could have bought your own house, they might not have offered you a free house.
Listen.
So the thing is if you were in an apartment, you wouldn't have chosen the carpet or the tile or anything else. Now I understand. I can totally understand you going into rooms and they don't look the way you would have styled them, or it's not the lighting fixtures that you would have chosen.
Correct.
But honestly, if you stay in a home long enough, you could change those things out if you wanted to, or you could have the mindset that I'm going to live in this house for as long as we can so we can save up a lot of money and get into a really good financial position and use it as rental property, income property, and then get the house that you really want.
Correct.
Because I think we bought a couple of houses and the things that we picked in the house wasn't necessarily
What we
something
wanted.
personally, like
we
when we
would-
were
we-
picking it to resell
We
it.
buy stuff to rent or to resell.
So we
It's
were
not
doing
really-
all neutral
Yeah,
stuff.
we don't care about
We
our
didn't-
feelings. It's an
Right.
investment.
Yes.
Don't get attached to things.
What a blessing
Man,
that your
you
in-laws
better
were
take
able to
that
do
money.
that. And I'm sure they are so like happy for you guys. For them to have been able to do something like that, I'm sure that makes them
Plus,
feel so good.
You got to release that too. Don't
Yeah.
harbor that thing. Let that thing go.
And I'm sure your husband kind of felt
Some kind of way.
torn
Yeah.
between, because even if he would have went to his mom, and he might have gone to his mom, and his mom didn't have the best response, and he just didn't want to tell you what the response was to protect you, because we do that with parents sometimes. You're like, Mom, that wasn't right, or whatever. I'm not saying that happened, but it might have been a thing.
Absolutely.
And as far as him going to his mom, he may have felt like it would hurt her feelings
Yeah,
too, and they were
listen,
doing something so awesome for
You
guys.
got a gift. Listen, when my mama got me that hoopy with the roaches in it, you think I want roaches in
Did
the
you
car?
tell them that? Did you tell the story?
No.
I mean, I put it out there. You might as well.
No, what my point to you is I didn't have a car.
Right.
And I was just frustrated because I didn't have no allowance or no car. She got an allowance and a car, and I'm like, I'm a good child. You know what I'm saying? I did right. Well, but different parents, different money situation. My parents were struggling. So, I kind of told her something. So she got me a car, man, y'all.
We went on a date on it. I was so happy for him.
And roaches started coming out
of everywhere. The seat cushions, underneath the carpet. We smacking roaches. I'm scratching right now just thinking about it. It was interesting. But it was an older lady's car.
Yeah,
and it sat in the carport.
And I rolled with it.
And it was
I was rolling.
We took care of them roaches.
But my point is, when a gift is given to you,
yes,
you just receive it.
Right.
There may be bags with it, but you receive it.
And this is really good too, because it's a lot of different things we can learn from this. Because when you allow not just family, but friends, anybody to buy you something so big that, it gives them power to control the situation.
Absolutely.
To an extent.
The Bible says a man's gift will make room for him and bring him before great men.
Right.
Gifts give access.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be mindful when someone gives you a gift that they may have an ulterior motive. Now, I'm not saying they do, but they may.
Right.
That's why you see a lot of people, they would say a man may take a woman out and buy her a nice meal with an expectation that he may,
And that's where we came up with Dutch, ladies. That's where we came up with Dutch. You pay for yours, I pay for mine. So at the end of this conversation and this meal, if I don't want to have nothing to do with you later, we good. You didn't lose nothing, and I just lost some time.
She bought me some food.
Yeah, I did buy you food.
She bought me food.
And I had access. No.
It worked out for you, though.
It did.
Now, I don't work out all the time. Now, what I'm saying is, y'all ladies, don't be caking these dudes. They got to have a job and ambition and goals.
Right.
Even though my money was funny, my dreams were big.
I don't even, like when we met, I was 17.
I don't know how old you were.
I think 17 or 18.
Mm.
I think I'm going to say 18 because that would have been legal. So we're going to say 18. I was 18 when we met. And I think it's a difference between you meeting someone that's broke when they're 19.
I wasn't broke. I had limited resources.
When you meet somebody that doesn't have any money,
Nathan.
Not a dime to their name at 19 versus you meeting a brother at 35 that's broke.
It's true.
So you should have you should be established in some way, shape, or form at a certain point in your life.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
It just depends on what part of life you're dealing with right now. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, you got that.
Okay. Number 2, I'm getting married in a few weeks. What are some foundational principles in marriage to live by?
Right.
Congratulations on your marriage.
Yeah, by the way, we are here right now because I have a wedding tomorrow.
Right.
So Instead of me going back and forth to Clearwater, I said, let's just get a room. And in the whole thing, I said, you know what? Let me get a room. Then I said, you know what? Let me surprise her. And it just kind of spiraled out. So now we're here in a hotel room just for one night. And my point to you is that you may not be able to have a vacation, but you could have a staycation. You know what I'm saying? It's one night. And, you know, my point is there's ways to make it simplified. So in reference to foundation principles, the first thing I thought about was patience.
That's good.
Okay. I realized when I'm not in a good place, I lost my patience. 1 Corinthians 13:4 says, love is patient and love is kind. So the foundational principle of love is patience.
Right.
So if I was talking to any young person, old person, anybody who wants to be in a relationship, make sure you have graced and grown in your patience. Then you have to have grace.
Right.
Just like God gives us daily grace, we have to be able to give our spouses grace.
Right.
Because for like me, I'm trying to wrestle with being a better listener and communicator. Now, I've been struggling with listening and communicating for about 46 years. Okay, that's my whole life. That's my 45 years, but about to be 46. My point to you is, I have been struggling with this.
Mm-hmm.
Communication is an imperfect art. So I have to understand that I have to give grace.
Right.
Then I have to have forgiveness. Now,
right.
I know someone's like, you ain't talking about sex or love. No. Those things will come. But if you don't have patience, you are going to make catastrophic mistakes in your relationship trying to skip through seasons.
Right. I would assume whoever you're willing to even consider marrying, that you already love them, that's a part of it.
Yeah.
I think too, in the whole patience, grace, and forgiveness, we need to remember who the enemy is. It's not your spouse. So when you go through hard times, because you will have hard times, the Bible says you will have trials and tribulations, but be of good cheer, because God says we have already overcome. So we're already victors, but we need to claim the victory. And the only way we can do that is to identify who the enemy is. And you have to make sure that you know that is not your spouse. So when you're going through hard times, make sure that you remind yourself that my spouse is not the enemy.
Now, if you are sitting with your spouse listening to us tonight, I want you to say that my spouse is not my enemy.
That's good.
Real talk. My spouse is not my enemy. Now, why are you saying this? The devil does not want your marriage to work.
Come on.
He wants you to divorce each other. But the challenge is, the trick is to get you so angry with each other, you don't even see who is really working y'all.
Right. He wants to cause division.
So I have to understand that I got to catch myself. Because sometimes she'll say something to me. It's like, what you think? I got to process and slow down my brain, because sometimes I get offended. And she laughed. Right. I thought you're not offensible. I thought that shouldn't bother you. That's her little, you know.
That was his thing. You know, he should say, I'm unoffensible.
I'm trying
to be.
But then
when I see him getting offended, I never purposefully try to offend you. But when you do get offended, it's interesting to me how the faces that he gives, I know what that is. And I just remind him, you said you're unoffensible. And then I want him to talk about his feelings, and that doesn't always work out.
Here's what it is. My confession is, I'm unoffensible.
Like I'm an athlete?
Exactly. When you're not. So.
He just said that he was going to say that I was an athlete.
I know that. I did say you're an athlete.
You said I'm not.
Listen.
You can't be double-minded man.
I'm unstable in all my ways. My premise is, my confession is, I'm unoffensible.
Right.
But the manifestation of my confession is still growing.
Come on, brother.
I have not fully.
We're gonna manifest that thing.
I haven't fully manifested the unoffensible. It's like I took my daughter to get her hair done today, and I saw an individual who spoke negatively about me. And
I wanted to jump through that glass.
You wanted to jump through the glass?
I wanted to help him out a little bit. You know?
And this individual speaks routinely, and then other people come back and tell me how he talks bad about me. And I'm trying not to be offensible. But some days I want to touch people when because here's my thing. If you have a problem with me, step to me and say it. But I don't like when a whole bunch of people are telling me what you say. So I wrestle with that. So my goal is to be unoffensive, but I have not fully matured to that level where things don't at least bother me a little bit. Mm-hmm. Lord Jesus, I'm growing.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Well, I think another key principle in marriage is honor and respect. Mm-hmm. They go hand in hand. You want to honor your spouse in the things that you do, the things that you say, how you carry yourself, because you're a representation of each other. So you want to make sure that you're honoring.
And honor, the word honor, it means to give weight, preference, priority. So when I'm honoring her, I'm making her my priority. Mm-hmm. I'm putting her in first place. I'm giving her space to speak into my life and for me to receive. Mm-hmm. So all those things are components.
Right.
Then you got to have honesty.
Yes.
I try to the best of my ability to speak my mind, but in love, I got to balance, because I understand that not all truth can be received now.
Right. And not all truth has to be spoken, and not all truth has to be, when I say not all truth has to be spoken, like if there is something that's glaringly obvious, as far as a fault that your spouse has, you don't have to constantly remind them of that. That may be the truth, but you don't have to beat them up about
Lord
it.
Jesus. People do all the time be beating people.
And I mean,
unnecessarily.
The brother has a gap. Okay, he had a gap when you married him, when he was dating him.
Yes, he did.
And you loved it.
You loved that gap.
And now you're using that against him. That's not right.
Why don't you get this fixed?
Whatever,
Wait a second.
Whatever.
You liked it before?
Loved it.
You loved it before?
You loved it.
I hate that.
Yeah, don't do that.
Trying to upgrade people.
And humble yourself. Don't allow pride to get into your marriage, where you can't apologize, say you're sorry,
and keep it moving.
Right. So
real talk.
I think being humble is a huge
all day long.
And I mean, we didn't mention love because we're, like we said, if you're considering marriage, I would assume that you already love the person. So
real talk.
Right. All right. Number three.
Speaking
I need help.
Ooh.
I had a miscarriage 14 months ago. And afterwards, I noticed my husband started watching porn online and masturbating in the shower. I don't feel like he is as affectionate as he once was with me. I've tried pleasuring him in different ways, but it's not reciprocated. What can I do? First of all, I want to acknowledge the fact that you lost a child. My deepest condolences to you. And I hope that if you are having some grief because of that, that you do seek counseling, seek help, because if you guys weren't able to grieve together, this may be one of the reasons why he changed patterns out of grief. But I want you to kind of talk about this for a minute, and then I wanted to go into something else.
Okay, so
she had a miscarriage 14 months ago.
So now he's watching pornography.
He's changed
and
up the game.
He is masturbating.
He might have always been masturbating. Well, and now it's like a magnifying glass on him because he's changed how affectionate he's being with her.
Okay, so let's deal with it. Is masturbating biblical? It's not really. It's not articulated in the Bible. Okay. Marriage was intended. Well, sex was intended for two people.
Right.
That was the original intent. The challenge I see is when he is trying to find pleasure outside of you.
Right.
It's a dangerous place to start. I have seen where men or people, men and women, would rather masturbate than have sex with their spouse. Now you put yourself in a dangerous place because now you can't find satisfaction within your spouse.
Right.
And that it's just a slippery slope. And pornography is just takes you down a place. And me being transparent, I was a kid watching pornography, got addicted to pornography. So I'm not speaking from a place that, I figured everything out. And no.
Right.
It's
or a judgmental place.
Judgmental place. I'm just saying it's a place that can take you to it's a dangerous avenue.
Right.
And you can be addicted. And the challenge is we need to talk to him about, okay, now I see what you're doing. Is there something that's missing that I can fulfill? And then I've also seen men that don't want to touch their women. And this is just what they say. I'm just telling you, I'm going to shoot you straight, real, raw, relevant. That after a baby, they're like, I don't even know if it could work now. Man, listen, God has made women. Everything goes back into place and it just, it works.
That might be part of it. Maybe the reason why he is wanting to pleasure himself is because he's not knowing how she's feeling. Maybe they're not talking about the miscarriage and he doesn't know where she's at mentally.
All of that.
In order to be able to handle whatever they were doing before. And he doesn't know how to express that. So maybe it might take you talking about the experience of you both having that loss and going through a miscarriage together. Yeah. Because you weren't the only one that lost a baby. He did too.
Because I've known, if you flip it, I've known some husbands who find their wife masturbating and they feel some kind of way like, am I doing something wrong? Or, are you attracted to the person on the screen? Or does that, all of these thoughts go in your mind because now you're trying to figure out, okay, this right here is not what I expected in my relationship. Now there's relationships where, it's a part of it and they do these things together. And that's a whole other animal because the Bible says the bedroom's undefiled. So if you guys agree that this is what y'all gonna do in y'all bedroom, well, okay, whatever, that's y'all business. But when you're going off, it's only a matter of time before you go. I'm not saying go off, but what I'm saying. When you're going off script and you're going outside of the knowledge of your spouse, it's only a matter of time before you put yourself in a more precarious situation.
Right. I definitely say I would bring it up and talk.
We'll talk.
And it sounds like you've been trying to do things differently and trying to approach, but maybe it's time to actually just go straight for the gusto and just sit down and say, hey, this is what I've noticed. This is how I'm feeling. This is what I would like to happen. I want to know how you're feeling. I want to know how you see us moving forward, and then go from there.
Correct. Real talk.
Number 4, my wife and I started a business and is slowly growing. Congratulations. My wife is wondering when should she quit her job and focus 100% on growing the business.
I have been in business, the whole marriage?
Yes.
So I've been in business plus 20 plus years. So I've always been a quasi-independent contractor, whereas I have to figure out how to make money. So when I tell a person who is in the process of thinking about, leaving their job and starting a business, you have to have a certain amount of reserves to do this. Now, not all have the reserve and they jump anyway. And I ain't mad at you based on your business and it's a leap of faith. But what you want to do is you want to structure yourself properly so that you can make a good decision. Oftentimes when we're stressed or under much pressure, you may make a poor decision. Mm-hmm. So you want to have an emergency fund or a certain amount of money saved up to where, if this happens, we are good for X amount of time. Charmaine and I were talking not too long ago. We're speaking about us and what we say, if we had to, we both can get a job and pay our bills. And so we have structured ourselves in a manner that if we never pastor church again, we have put ourselves in a position, whereas if we had to go get regular jobs, we can still live the same way we live, drive what we drive, because we don't have a lot of debt. So if you're about to make a move in reference to your business, make sure your debt is minimal. Make sure you have some reserves, and then by God's grace, jump.
Right. Amen. I say the only thing, just make sure you have a good plan and that both of you all are in agreement.
Yes.
That's huge, because if both of you all are in agreement, then if anything goes wrong, nobody's pointing the finger.
Yes, Lord Jesus. Make sure you are in agreement. Oh.
Okay, next one. We've been married for 4 years, and it seems like it's always it seems like I'm always misinterpreting. We're always misinterpreting each other's words, body language, text messages, etc. What are some tools that we can improve our communication? It's kind of worded weird. We've been married for 4 years. It seems like we are always misinterpreting each other's words, body language, text messages, etc.
Okay, number one, slow down. Slack. Sit, listen, ask. Is it
communicate and kiss.
Find a process to where you can slow down your processing.
Right.
Now, to be clear, we still miscommunicate.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm like, it's so frustrating to me because I believe we should be past this.
And
but we're not.
I think it's a constant thing that you're constantly learning each other. And I think sometimes when you're communicating and you're trying to get clarity, sometimes it can come across as you being sarcastic or you being you're being hard on the person when you're really just trying to get clarity. So now I communicate and I say, hey, I'm just trying to get clarity. You just said this. Did you mean this? Does that mean yes? Does that mean no? What is your thought?
Yeah.
So I think communicating, sometimes we're in such a fast-paced world and we want answers right away. Sometimes it takes us slowing down to ask the vital questions in order to get clarity, in order to make sure. Texting is so hard because you really can't decipher whether someone's angry or mad unless they say certain words or give you that emoji or something.
Or my thing is your phone is dead and I don't know it, and I think you're ignoring me.
And then you don't respond, right?
So there's so much
gray,
poor communication, body language, mannerisms, all those things that make communication difficult.
Right.
So you have to really.
And it could be like a facial expression too.
Oh my God!
Like you could see somebody's facial expression in the kitchen and think, "Oh, they're upset," but it may not even be the case at all.
All the time,
they might have been thinking about something, or their mind could have been, like elsewhere, and then you act on what you think they're feeling versus
I misread all the
what
time.
The real situation is. So I would say. Slack is great. I would say ask questions for sure. And one good way we always give this suggestion to communicate more is to have those weekly meetings. But if you're just starting out and you're trying to get kind of like a fresh slate as far as you're communicating, you might want to do a daily meeting. And it doesn't have to be long. You just ask specific questions. Our questions to each other is, have I offended you? What are your priorities? Do you have any unmet needs? So, those don't have to be your questions, but come up with some questions between the two of you and then ask each other those questions. And let's say you guys have crazy schedules and you can't do it in the morning. Call each other on the phone on the way to work. Or, even I hate using text message, but if you text a person the questions, maybe they can call you back or they can text you. If your schedules are crazy. If your schedules are not crazy and you could do it in person, that's the best way, because what better way to get to know each other than to talk face to face? Another great tool that we always talk about is having a special day. So if your spouse has a special day, whatever they like, whatever their needs are, they ask those things on those special days. And what it does eventually is it allows you to get to know their likes, their dislikes, the things that they enjoy doing, the things they enjoy talking about, the things they enjoy you doing for them. So then you wind up doing those things even when it's not their day, because it's something that they like. Those are always good tools to use to spark up communication, to create cultivate an environment in your home for positive communication too, because it doesn't always have to be what you don't like. A lot of times when we come to our spouses, we say, "Oh, I need to talk." It's first thing you think of is negative.
Correct.
But it doesn't always have to be negative. Let's talk doesn't have to be a negative connotation, but you have to create that environment in your home
all day long. It's if we can give the honor that we gave to our bosses, our employees, our superiors, to our spouses, we better be better communicators.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Real
I
talk.
agree. Well, we so appreciate you guys spending time with us this evening. We kind of went over.
Someone had a question.
Okay.
What? The question was, we good, baby.
Okay.
The question, man, I can't make this. Thing's not moving, Mama.
Oh, can you get that off?
Boy.
I don't know how to work it.
Anyway, whatever. Let it ride. It won't move for me.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. What if? No, keep going, sweetie. There's a question I saw. That's not it. Further up. I think that. No. Keep going up. I think it's time. I think the question had to deal with if I'm doing all I can and the person is not responding to that, you may need counseling. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
To find someone else speaking to your lives.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think we should all consider. Sometimes we need a mediator. Sometimes we need somebody to listen to both sides and really mediate, and somebody that both of you all respect.
Bottom line.
And I don't suggest family.
No, Dad. No. Well, we love you.
Yes. Thank you all for joining us.
God bless you. Remember this always.
Love, laugh, and learn. God bless you.
Please subscribe to the YouTube page.
JOMO and CHARMAINE.
Mm-hmm.
Give us a thumbs up if you're already on there. Thank you so much. Leave any questions you may have for our next Q&A on my Instagram messages, or you can email us from our YouTube channel if you want it to be anonymous. If not, you can just put it in the comment section.
Holla. God bless you all. Have a wonderful night. Peace.